Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a bit of a baking basic sort of video as well as a biscuit decorating video because it is almost December. So I'm starting to make some Christmas biscuits. So yeah, I'm going to show you today how to make royal icing and then an example of how I like to decorate my biscuits at Christmas. So yeah, first of all, we should talk about what royal icing actually is. So royal icing is slightly different to just normal water icing where you combine icing sugar with water. And that is quite good for biscuit decorating, but it doesn't hold its shape as well, and also it doesn't harden particularly well. So I like to use royal icing when I am decorating biscuits. Now royal icing is made using raw egg whites, which I've got here. If you don't if you use fresh eggs, I'm okay with that and the fact that they're not being cooked. But if you don't like eating raw eggs, then maybe this isn't the best thing for you to do. Or you can also buy royal icing sugar, which contains dried egg white powder, but royal icing sugar isn't that easy to find. I don't think you can get it in every country, and even in the UK you can often, I don't think you can get it in the normal supermarket. You might have to go to a specialist almost like baking shop or places like Hobbycraft and stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how to make really simple royal icing at home using just egg whites, icing sugar and a little bit of lemon juice. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so to make your royal icing sugar, you need some egg whites. I've got 2 egg whites in this bowl, a little bit of lemon juice and quite a lot of icing sugar, you'll see. I'm gonna add a little bit of the lemon juice to the egg whites. If you are making the royal icing not to decorate biscuits, or and you want it not to be quite as hard, because this will set rock hard on the biscuits. So yeah, if you want something that won't set as hard, you can add a little bit of liquid glycerin to the mix, and then if you pipe it onto cakes or use it for cake decorating, it'll just not set like rock solid, so you'll still be able to slice your cake. So yeah, first step, just add a wee bit of lemon juice to your egg whites and then just sort of whisk it all together. And you want to do this until the egg whites are quite foamy and everything's just all combined. Okay, I think that looks good. So this is what it looks like. Oops, this stage. Oh, can't see anything. Good that I used the glass bowl. Okay, so now I'm just going to start adding my icing sugar. You can sift your icing sugar, but I absolutely hate sifting icing sugar. So I'll just whisk it more vigorously and that will get rid of some of the lumps. But yeah, if you have the patience to sift your ingredients, feel free. It will make it easier, but I don't like sifting. Right, I'm just going to add a little bit at a time, although I'll probably need about 500 grams of icing sugar, I want to say, maybe a bit more. Just whisking the icing sugar bit by bit, and you can probably add about 300 or 400 grams, no problem. And then what you want to do is slow it down and make sure that you add only enough icing sugar to get the icing to a consistency that you want. So I'll do that and then I will let you know once we're ready and when the critical point comes to decide how much icing sugar to add. Okay, so when it comes to icing biscuits, there's 2 different techniques. One is piping, obviously, and the other is flooding. So piping is when your icing is fairly stiff and you might use that to pipe outlines or straight lines that you want to stay on your biscuits, whereas flooding is used to fill the gaps in between lines that you've maybe piped. So ideally, icing that is fit for piping is quite thick and will properly hold its shape when you pipe it, and icing for flooding is just a bit more liquid that you can then kind of pour into the gaps, and then you can use a toothpick or a teaspoon or something to spread it out to make sure it fills all the cracks. So I have added about 400 to 500 grams of icing sugar to 2 large egg whites. Just continue, it very much depends on the size of the egg whites and everything, so just add as much as you see fit. And I've now reached a consistency that is quite good for flooding. Okay, so this icing, as you can see, it's very thick, white, but still quite runny, and this will be good to fill the gaps of my biscuits. So I will need predominantly icing for flooding later. So I'm going to keep this at this consistency and then remove some of this and put it into smaller bowls and add some more icing sugar to those in order to create icing that is fit for piping. I've got a bowl here, so I'm just going to use about a third of it. You do underestimate how little you really need for piping, I feel at least, and you need far more for flooding. So got that transferred in here, and into this I'm going to just add a little bit more icing sugar and whisk again as before to just create a consistency that is a lot thicker and that I think will hold its shape when piped. So as you see, I probably didn't add a lot more icing sugar, and this is the kind of consistency you want for flooding. So it's not like solid, but it doesn't just run off the spoon. It actually holds its shape quite well. So this is the perfect consistency now for piping. Now you can add food colouring to your icing as well to colour it. I'd recommend not using liquid food colouring, as that will alter the consistency of the icing. Although with this, if you do use liquid icing sugar and it goes a bit runny, liquid food colouring, and it does go a little bit runny, you can add a bit more icing sugar to stiffen it up a bit. But for the best colour, the best results, and something that won't alter the consistency too much, I would recommend using gel food colouring. So I'm going to colour mine black and white. So we're going to take, just divide this between two bowls. One I'm going to leave white, the other bit I'm going to colour black. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of this gel food colouring. Be careful you don't get it on your clothes. And then add a little bit, mix it in, see if you like the colour, add a bit more until you're happy. Okay, so I've coloured this portion of icing a nice dark black colour, and now you are ready to use it for your baking. How easy was that? So you can use piping bags if you have them. I often use freezer bags because I don't always have piping bags. Piping bags are a bit more expensive, so freezer bags are actually great. I have going to use these like small Ziploc or like squeezy top freezer bags, but you can use any one that you have. And then just going to fill my icing into, going to try and get it as much as I can into one of the corners of the freezer bag, and then you can just snip off the corner and you're good to go. You've got your own homemade piping bag. Okay, so I've filled it in here, and I'm just going to squeeze it all as much as I can, trying not to get too much air into the tip, into the bottom. And now you can snip off the cut, like a tiny bit of the end, depending on how thin or thick you want your lines, and then you're ready to go. So let's get into the baking, the decorating bit. So I've got everything ready for the decorating part. Most importantly, of course, some biscuits. These are just my very easy lemon and orange zest biscuits that I will leave a link to the recipe under this video, as well as probably an end recipe for these specific biscuits that I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to decorate them so that they look like little Christmas lights hanging off a string. So I've got my black and my red, black and white icing ready, and then I've got some chocolate M&Ms that I have cut in half. So yeah, let's just get into the decorating. I apologise for the slightly rubbish lighting, but this is basically how you decorate your Christmas light cookies. So the first thing you want to do is you take the thicker icing for piping in the piping bag, and pipe an outline around the biscuits. Then what you want to do is take the flooding icing and just dollop a spoonful of that in the middle, and then use a cocktail stick or toothpick or something to spread it out evenly. Then you take your black piping icing, then just pipe some lines across to make it look like a string of Christmas lights, and then you can use your chocolate M&Ms to decorate. So I've got a nice wee production line going on here between first icing rings onto each biscuit and whoops. Yep, so I've got all my rings iced, and as they harden, I'm slowly but surely flooding all of the biscuits. And then once that's done, on comes the black icing and the M&Ms, and then comes to decorating. They look like this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm just gonna probably sit here for another hour and decorate my biscuits. So yeah, let me know if you give them a try. Recipes, ingredients, instructions, all kind of stuff will be linked below. And yeah, make sure to check out my blog for a lot of other Christmas recipes, Christmas baking recipes, biscuit recipes, cake recipes, everything. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.